Hi everyone, and welcome to our Year 4 homework review video for week 3. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reviewing the tasks that you've hopefully done for your homework, and we're going to be looking through all the answers. The advantage to these videos, of course, is that if you want to pause it, you can just pause the page, check your work, make sure you've got it all correct, and we'll obviously talk through each of the tasks as we go down through. So we're looking forward to working through this video with you. Certainly when we go down through the video, we'll go through each individual task. We'll talk to you about what page you need to be on, what books you need to have as well. What we're also going to do is something slightly different than what we've done before. When you usually see me in the bottom right hand corner, we are also going to have Billy the bookworm there. So hopefully by having him there, I don't distract you and you can just listen to me just talk you through those different tasks. That's a slightly different feature than what you're used to, but we'll bring Billy up in a minute. So just a reminder, you should be in year 4 if you're watching this video. This is for week 3's tasks, and this was a lot of vocabulary tasks that you had to work through, and it's mainly, as you can see on the screen, the spelling and the vocabulary workbook that you would have been working through, but you do also use the Schofield and Sims book as well, I think, at the end of your homework tasks. So, shall we begin by going through each of the homework tasks? As I say, I'll bring Billy up so he doesn't distract you, or I don't distract you rather, and we'll go through each of those tasks in turn. So, let's have a look at the first video, or the first part of our video. So, first thing we had to do, we need to be in Unit 5. So you need to be in your spelling and vocabulary workbook, and you need to please turn to page 19. Page 19. So you're doing incredibly well. You're already on Unit 5. So well done if you've managed to get all the way up to Unit 5 already, and hopefully you've completed it. Remember, with a lot of these activities, the words are written down the side. So what I've done is I've just taken a little snippet of the words down the side. And of course, these are all the words that you need to try and fit into this grid. So fill the grid with 12 of your words. I don't think we used every single one of them over there. One letter in each word has been provided as a clue. Now my suggestion is always, when you're doing these, is to look at, for example, if we've got A, we need to look for a word that has A as the 5th letter. So there may be a few options, but if you go to probably, you can see there that the A is the 5th letter. And I don't think there are any others actually where A, got an A there, but that was the 4th. So probably, could have had library, but L-I-B-R-A-R-Y would have been too short. So probably slightly longer, isn't it? So hopefully then you were to work out that probably was the answer. Anyway, as you go down through, it's about using all those letters. And you've got the word accidentally. They've used the top word all the way down through, and then it's about looking really carefully at where those words go. There might have been a few new words in this particular section. Maybe beady was a new word for you. And I've actually got a picture here of a character from The Simpsons with very beady eyes. You can see they're very small, beady eyes. So beady might be a word that you might put in your word meaning book. Sturdy may have been a new word for you. Sturdy means when it's strong or robust. So if you want to put those words in your word and meaning book, that would be a really, really good idea. So when you're doing these tasks, it's always about trying to build up your knowledge, not only of your spelling, but your knowledge of words and what they mean as well. Do we know, for example, century? How many years in a century? Well, there's 100 years in a century. I wonder if we know how many years in a decade. Do you know how many years there are in a decade? Well, there are 10 years in a decade. So it's all about building up your understanding. But hopefully you completed that grid okay and you managed to get all the words. Certainly when you're doing them, I would actually either put a line through them or tick them off so you know that you've used them. As I said earlier, I don't think you use every single word in this particular one. So it is a case of crossing it out, and that can limit your choices then for the options that you've actually got. But well done if you managed to do that task. Let's have a look now at the bottom of page 19, and we've got a couple of wordy activities that we had to do here. Hopefully you did well on these. Which of your words are synonyms? So synonyms being words that mean the same. So really and actually, normal and ordinary, sometimes and occasionally. Occasionally you might do something, sometimes you might do it, and likely and probably. You can actually see there's a bit of a spelling mistake there, isn't there? Some of you may have spotted it already. So that should end with an ly. So we've just caught that one in time, haven't we? Probably. Likely, probably. And then we've got probably and probable, and then we've got occasionally and occasional, and then we've got specially and special. So write these following words as adjectives, so as describing words. So as you can see, very often we're dropping the Y and then adding an E, occasionally slightly different, and specially we're just taking the LY, and occasionally just taking the LY away to turn them into adjectives. Adjectives being describing words. Write the following words as nouns. So we've got beady, and then we've got bead, a bead. If you think of a bead, that's a noun. And then we've got bubbly, and then a bubble being the noun. So what we would suggest, guys, when you're doing these, obviously if you've got them correct, you can give them a nice tick. And always do read the helpful hints as well. That can be really useful. So in your books, do read the helpful hints. So this one says, remember this spelling rule to help you when adding a Y to the end of a word. If a word ends in an E that you cannot hear, drop the E and add the Y. So injure, don't hear the E sound at the end, drop the E to become injury. That's a really helpful hint. Let's move on now to the next page for Unit 5, and you should now be on page 20, it does tell you over here. And with page 20, you had a little crossword that you needed to do, or sorry, more of like a word search really. There's no clues, it's a word search. So the words are hidden in here and you had to find them. And they were all colours. And I'm hoping that most of you know what those colours actually are. But we're going to have a little look in a moment on the next slide for some of those ones. If you didn't know exactly what colours they were, I've actually given you a little square with a colour inside so you'll be able to see. So, what are we left with? So, we will have seen that if you'd found all of those colours within your word search, the ones that I've put in pink, those are the letters that you're left with. And it spells out colourful words. So colourful words. So hopefully, if you check your word search, those should have been the letters that you should have been left with. If not, you've missed one. So I always suggest with these, just like with the other ones, if you found it, you can easily just cross it out. And then it means that, right, okay, I still need to find one if you haven't crossed it out. Hopefully you found them all. They're all going in slightly different directions. I don't think there's any going diagonally, but certainly horizontally and also vertically as well. So let's have a look at the next task. Which of your words have these smaller words hidden in them? So we've got lack, dig, row, ink, car, in and low, old and is. And all of those colours have got those words hidden inside. Just over here, and I thought would be a good idea to show you, indigo is kind of like a deep purple. Navy is a dark blue. Scarlet is a red. You might also know the colour crimson. Tan is sort of like a light brown colour. And then turquoise is often associated with really a nice colour for maybe the sea, for example, turquoise, and that's sort of a very light blue colour. So if you didn't know what any of those colours look like, there you go. There's just a bit of help for you. So hopefully you've managed to find the words within the words, and that can be also a really good way of learning your spellings actually. So if you think of brown, for example, you've got the word row in it. So you could learn that by learning the word row and then just thinking about the B and the N. So that would make it really easy. So really important. And I've spotted another spelling mistake. Not doing very well here, are we? Turquoise. I'm going to write that word out for you again. Just doing it deliberately, just to keep you on your toes. But turquoise does need an R there, doesn't it? So there we go, turquoise. This is all just to keep you on your toes when you're marking. So well done if you got those correct. Let's have a look down through the next task. This was on page 21, as it says over here. So we're still in Unit 5. And these were clues. So you had clues, and all of these words have more than one meaning, which means they are homonyms, which one word fits both definitions to these questions. So it's really important that you know that lots of words will have a double meaning or a dual meaning. So hopefully you've got the clue and then you've worked out what the word is. So let's start off with the first one. A fried sliver of potato, crisp, and it can also mean cool. curiosity, and the additional sum awarded for saving money, interest. A mathematical shape, a percussion musical instrument, of course the triangle. Leftover remains of a fire, and then a type of tree, an ash tree. You can have ash when you've burnt something. Standalone clause and a term of punishment, a sentence. So if you're sent to jail, you might have a long sentence. To rip, to tear, and the product created when we cry, a tear. Flat bottom boat, a barge, and if you barge into someone, you obviously shove. A burgundy red colour, maroon, and if you're abandoned on an island, you're marooned. To abandon means to maroon. Where we live, an address, but to give a lecture or a talk, to address the public or talk. A sharp point, a dart, and to move really quickly if you dart between something. A container for petrol or water, a tank, and a vehicle, of course, used by the army is referred to as a tank. To badly miss somebody or something, to pine after them. If you pine after someone, you really want to see them. An evergreen tree, of course, is a pine. A bird, swift, it's a type of bird. To move with great speed, to move swiftly. A sticky dried fruit is referred to as a date. Part of the calendar is the date. Gemstone, and then we've got the shape, a diamond. To tap repeatedly, to drum, and then percussion musical instrument is a drum as well. So hopefully you got all of those correct. Those were quite nice little clues, weren't they? Certainly useful definitions to learn in there as well. On the section H, when we have to remove one letter from each of the following words to make a new word, there are a few options on these, but date becomes ate, dart becomes art, ash becomes as. We've got tear or tear becomes ear or tea. I did notice on this one, I think there might have been, was there another option? No, that was the only options on those, but well done if you spotted those two. And then we've got 5, we've got sift, like sift through something. Take out the W. Tank and tan, pine and pin, and barge and bear. Another really helpful hint down here. These homophones can be tricky, but a lot of the time a homophone is a verb and a noun. Think of water. I can drink of water, or I can water my plants. Always ask yourself if the word is an action, a thing, or possibly both. Now let's have a look at the next part of section 5, and this is on page 22. And again, we've got some clues and we've got some words down the side, and then what we've got to do is find the words that fit the definitions below. So someone who buys something or buys things is called a shopper. Stale or mouldy, rotten. Daft or foolish, silly. Made bare, stripped. To go quickly, hurry. Purchasing items, shopping. A movement of butterfly wings is a flutter. To shake, to rattle. A wooden window covering is a shutter. Having blotches, being spotty. A cushion for a bed, pillow. To join together, connect. Colourful tape is a ribbon. To smash into pieces is to shatter. A decorative piece of fabric, a ruffle. And then the top of a mountain is the summit. Or you could also refer to that as the peak or the pinnacle. Well done if you got all of those. We're now going to move on to page 22. And don't please be too confused by the pages in the middle of the book, and I'll explain about that in a minute and how it kind of jumps, because the answers are also numbered pages. So we're going to go to 27 in a moment. But let's just mark these. All but one of your words have 2 syllables. We split the syllable in the middle of the double letters. Write your words divided into syllables. So there you can see all the words split into their syllables. Okay, don't really know why we've got an equal sign there. We don't really need that. We'd only need to have just something that shows you that it's split in half. There we go. That looks better, doesn't it? So hopefully you can just check that you've split them correctly into their syllables. And that can also be another way of spelling words as well, can't it? Let's have a look at the next section. So we're now moving on to Unit 6. And as you can see, the pages have jumped, but you're now going to page 27. So those 5 pages in the middle were also counted. Now these are compound words. This is where we get 2 words, put them together to make one. So these are all compound words down here. And what I've shown you down here is how they split out. So sunflower, sunlight, sunshine, supply, support, tablet, tablet, target, teacup, teapot, teaspoon, king, toadstool, toenail, trapdoor, and then tea time. Now you have to place your compound words within a set of little sentences or short little paragraphs. And we've got teapot and teacup. So we gave my aunt some vintage crockery, including a matching teapot and teacup for her birthday. Our sunflower has grown really tall as it gets a good supply of sunlight and water. I prefer to eat my ice cream with a teaspoon rather than a dessert spoon. I would have put a hyphen in there. I wrote a story about a fairy who lives under a toadstool at the bottom of the garden and uses a tiny trapdoor to get into our house and join us at tea time. Now you have split up your words, have a go at mixing them up to create some new compound words. Example, the word tea could make tea bag or spoon and could make tablespoon. So some really good fun games you can play with compound words, particularly matching. So if you were to get all of these words maybe on a separate piece of paper and just write the word on one bit of paper, write the other word on another, then mix them all up, make lots of them, and then you could play some nice matching games maybe with a family member as well. So we're now going to have a look at the next section. So we now need to go to section C. So you now should be turning over the page, should be on page 28. So we've got to change the double vowels in these words to make new words. So we've got dear and door, shoot and sheet, breed and brood, fall and feel. Now down here we've got to put the letters of the following words in alphabetical order. So I'm just going to double check that we have put those correctly in alphabetical order for you. Pretty sure we have, but I'm going to just do a double check. It's always a good opportunity. You can pause the video if you want. I'm just going to double check that these are all correct for you. So we've got C-E-K-O-O-R, yeah. G-L-M-O-O-Y, yeah. And we've got E-E-G-R-T, so these are in alphabetical order. Then we've got all the three E's, L-S-V, and then this last one, F-H-I-L. Now we only need one L, so I'm going to cross that out, and then O-O-S. So apologies about that. We didn't actually need the other L. I thought I would just double check. It's quite easy to make a little mistake on those. So there we go. That's what the right order should have been for foolish if it was written in alphabetical order. So well done if you got those right. So you can put a little mark there out of 5. And this one you can put a mark out of 4. It's always useful then to add them up. There is a little progress grid where you can record all your results down. So we're going to have a little look now at the next passage or next part of your section or unit 6. What do we have to do here? We've got lots of words again down the side that we need to place into the gaps. I did just put a coop. If any of you didn't know what a coop is, a chicken coop is where often chickens are housed. I just thought I'd just show you a little picture of what a coop looks like, so you can see the chickens would go in there. They can go down this little ramp here and they can live in there very happily and be very safe. So no foxes could come along and gobble them up. So they'll be very safe in a coop. But if you didn't know what a coop was, there you go, you do now. So just double check that you've got the words in the right place, and I'll just read you out the sentences. A cooker is another word for an oven. We can keep chickens in a coop. I got some pasta sauce on my sleeve. A deer is an animal with antlers. If we act daft, it means we are being foolish. The opposite of outdoors is indoors. We can brush the floor with a broom. Our veins carry blood around our body. A miserable dark room could be called gloomy. We greet friends when we say hello. A poodle is a breed of dog, and a fleece is a warm jacket. So well done if you got all of those right. Again, you can just come down the side if you want, give them a tick. Again, just crossing out the words on your list can really help you as well, so you know you're limiting your choices. This I know does look quite complicated, but if you do want to follow the line, it'll meet up to the word. So these are all compound words, and what I've done is I've just drawn a line to hopefully marry them all up. Some of the words obviously down the bottom are repeated again. So we've got rain twice because you could make rainbow or you could make raincoat. So a couple of them whereby you can have obviously lots of words that go with other words. And there's lots of words like that. So if you think of the word head, there's lots of words I could put after that. So an example might be headache. Okay, even the word back. There's lots of words that go with back. So I could have background, for example. So compound words are great to learn and revise, but all these compound words here hopefully be married up. If you do want to pause the video, this could be a really good opportunity to do that. Next little task, it is common for the first part of a compound word to be a preposition, a nature word, a colour or a body part. So divide your words into these three categories. Three have been done as examples. So prepositions, we've got outlaw, overall, overtake, outside, overhead and outstanding. The nature words, we've got snowball, rainbow, raincoat, snowdrop and snowflake. And then the other, got passport, railway and password. So again, hopefully you've gone down through and checked those. A good opportunity to pause the video at this stage and you can just double check. All of the words in your list are tricky to spell, and sometimes little rhymes or mnemonics can help us to remember how to spell them. Work out which word each of these spelling aids helps with. So mnemonics are things like, if I said because, big elephants can always understand small elephants. That might be one that you know. But these are really great little rhymes and silly mnemonics that help you remember, hopefully, how to spell some of these words. So do have a good look down through, and hopefully that really, really helps you. I love some of these. These are really good fun. Let's have a look at a couple of them. There is a rat in this word. And there we have. We've got separate. And then we've got a row greatly upsets everyone. So if we took the first letters, that will spell the word argue. What else have we got? I see you in the middle of the word. I see you for particular. That's a lovely one. Are you a liar at the end of the word? That's really nice for peculiar. Okay, that's really nice. Excellent. So really making sure that you look at these. Any that you could learn. Guide us in dark evenings for guide. That's a nice one. Certainly things like possession and especially and peculiar, certainly those harder words. Well done. Okay, hopefully you got all of those correct. And again, you can go down through, and if you put the right word with the right rhyme or mnemonic, you can give it a tick. Right, let's have a look at the last thing that you need to do in your book on page 30. And you have another one, a bit like you had at the beginning of Unit 5. You've got in the end of Unit 6, you've got to put in the words into the gaps again. What I've done is I've actually ticked them off this time, and I've crossed out the words that you didn't need. I thought that was quite useful just to see which words you needed. Hopefully you've spelt them correctly. You can just go down through and give them a nice tick if you've got them in the right places. But you are using the letters in possession to give you a clue to what those words should have been. So well done. So guys, brilliant stuff if you managed to get through all of those. We're now going to have a look at page 16, but we're no longer looking in your spelling and your vocabulary book. We're now turning our attentions to your 8 to 9 rapid test free book. So you need to have a little look at section 2, test 1. So make sure you're in the right place, and this needs to be on page 16. Now, a lot of these were very logical questions, so you had to use quite a bit of logic. So hopefully you were able to read through these and hopefully get the right answer. I put the right answers on the lines here, but it's obviously about reading that information carefully. So let's have a read of question 1. Billy collects beetles. He has 3 shiny green beetles and 2 blue beetles. His favourite colour is red, and he only has 1 beetle. That is this colour. How many beetles does Billy have? So we know he's got 3 shiny green ones. He's got 2 blue beetles. We mustn't forget about the 1 beetle that he has. That is his favourite colour of red. So if we add them all up, we get 6. So just being logical, I do underline the numbers because that sometimes helps me as well. Yasmin and Gina are taking part in their school sports day. Yasmin competes in the long jump and javelin. Gina runs the relay race and hurts her ankle during the race. Oh, poor Gina. How many activities do the girls take part in? So fortunately for Gina, I know she hurt her ankle, but actually that's not really important because I can cross that out because I'm not really asked about that. I'm asked about how many activities do the girls take part in. So I've underlined them. They do the long jump, they do the javelin, and they do the relay race. So it was 3. And then we've got the next one. We've got Layla's mother is serving dinner. There are 10 potatoes to share between 3 people. Everyone has the same number of potatoes except for Layla's father, who gets an extra one. How many potatoes does her father get? Well, they have 10 altogether. So if we think about 3 times 3 is 9. But because they had 10, there's going to be 1 left over, and that's the one that Dad gets. Lucky Dad. 3 plus 1 is going to give me 4. Let's have a look at question 4. Circle the letter next to the true statement. So these are true statements. We read this information at the top here. I'm going to read that first, and then I'm going to work out which one is true. So it may not tell you exactly, but you need to use your inference skills here. This is all about inference, and work out what would be accurate and truthful. People who can play instruments are called musicians. Tommy plays guitar in a band. So Tommy's band is very popular. It doesn't mention anything about that. Tommy makes a lot of money. Doesn't talk about that either. Tommy's parents think he makes too much noise. Well, it doesn't mention that. It probably does, but it doesn't mention it in the text. Tommy is a musician. Now, he's a musician because he plays a guitar, and we know that instruments, if you play an instrument, you're called a musician. So he plays a guitar, so that makes him a musician. So we know that's right. James's favourite colour is green. All of his school books are his favourite colour. So that implies, of course, that his school books must be green. James's school books are green. So we know that B is right. James dislikes school. He may do, but it doesn't mention that in the text. His maths book is red. Might be, but it doesn't mention it in the text. And James has 10 school books. Again, he might do, but it doesn't talk about that in those questions at all. Now, we've got a bit of trivia here, and I hope you had a bit of fun with these. There are lots of questions here which you needed to have read through, and then you've got to work out your answers. Now, one of the things I did want to do before I went through the answers with you was just show you how you could actually use your knuckles to work out the days in each of the months. So we've got January 31, February 28, March 31, 30 for April, May 31, June 30. And now when we put our knuckles together, to place our knuckles together, we get 31 and 31. That's July and August. September, another little divot here for 30. Another knuckle, 31 for October. And then 30 for November, because it comes in another little divot there. And then we've got December as 31 for the knuckle. Really worth learning that, because sometimes they will ask you, and certainly even in something like the 11 plus, you may be asked about how many days there are in certain months. So question 6, which month is 2 months before June? Well, it's April. If it is December now, what was the month before last? Well, of course, it was October. So again, check these through. If Tom is 2 years older than Jana, and Jana is 8, how old is Tom? Well, he's 2 years older than 8, so he's 10. Freya is cleaning. It takes her 20 minutes to wash the dishes, 35 minutes to scrub the floor. Freya starts cleaning at 1:15 p.m. What time does she finish? Well, if we add those together, we actually get 55 minutes. And if you add 15 to 55, we end up getting, let's just add those up, we end up getting 70 minutes. Now 70 minutes is equivalent to an hour and 10 minutes. So if we add those on, it starts at 1:15, so if we add 45, that will take me very nicely to 2 o'clock. And then we've got another 10. So perfect. So we know it's going to be 10 past 2. She's going to finish. How many days are there in August? Well, there are 31. If it is 21st of February today, what date will it be tomorrow? It'll be the 22nd of February. One day, it takes Cleo 45 minutes to get to school. It takes twice as long for her to get home. After school, how long does it take her to get home? Well, it will be 90 minutes. It takes her twice as long. So if we double 45, it'll give you 90. Okay, so excellent stuff. Let's move on to the next little test that you had to do, and this was section 2, test 2. So make sure you're now on page 17, and we've got hold and grasp. So these are synonyms. They're closest in meaning, so we're looking for the 2 words that mean the same. So we've got hold and grasp. Guess and estimate, you might do that in maths. Hurt and harm, deny and refuse. Then we've got train is to track. So these are analogies, and we have done these in our lessons quite a bit. Train is to track as boat is to ocean. Rabbit is to a hutch because a rabbit lives in a hutch and a dog lives in a kennel. Owl is to night, as Robin is today. Purse is to money, as fridge is to food. Let's go and have a look at the next ones. And we've got to do some antonyms next. So frown is to smile. Beautiful is to ugly. There are opposites. And then full is to empty. They're antonyms. Rob and Pat share 34 biscuits equally. So equally is the key word here between them. How many biscuits do Rob and Pat get? Well, if we get 34 biscuits, divide it by 2. We're obviously going to get 17. Now, if that was something you couldn't have done in your head, I'd like to think you can, but maybe you could just do some short division. 2's into 3 goes once, remainder 1, 2's into 14 goes 7. And then the last test, first thing we've got to do is we've got to put these words into their different categories. So either bicycles, van or canoe. So we've got moped is obviously a bicycle, yacht is like a canoe, scooter comes under the bicycle group, motorbike comes under bicycle, kayak, it comes under canoe, truck, van, lorry, van, and then we've got a dinghy. Now, if you didn't know what a dinghy was, there's a little picture of one there, would be under canoe. Then we've got opposites, turquoise, cyan and blue, obviously all blue colours, pink and red. Earth, Venus and Saturn are planets, so Galaxy and Sun are the odd ones out, so again give those a tick. Then we've got swan, goose, duck, feathers and river. So feathers and river would be the odd ones out there. Scowl, frown, wink, gower and grin. So all of those, wink and grin. If you're sort of scowling or frowning, you're looking at someone, you're a little bit sort of grumpy, not very pleased. But if you're winking or grinning, those are the odd ones out. And then we've got to underline the word that goes best with the 3 words in the brackets. We have done these before as well. Thoughtful, affectionate and caring. You're kind of sympathetic with them. Small, little and tiny. Miniature. So all synonyms for words small. Plum, apple and banana. Strawberry. They're all obviously fruits. And then cake and celery. So again, just going through each of the options. Graham and Susie had cereal for breakfast. Susie also had toast. Sylvie and Joseph only had toast for breakfast. How many people ate some toast at breakfast time? So I've done a little table here. Now, as you can see, I've put the initials, but because I had 2 S's, because I had Susie and Sylvie, I've ended up putting SU for Susie and then Sylvie SY just to make it easier. And I put a little line underneath just when it mentions they have toast. So Susie has toast. And then Sylvie and Joseph, he also has toast. So I've just put in 1, 1 and 1 and it totals 3. So well done if you got that one correct. Let's move on down to the next test. And we're going to look now at page 19. And we've got odd ones out. So we've got burglar and dislike, cup and jump, wolf and puppy, because all the others are types of cat. Number 2 is all throwing, and then forbid, outlaw and prohibit, not allow. And then we've got hip, waist and rib, all parts of your body. And then we've got waist and scarf. More analogies. Butterfly, caterpillar, as frog is to tadpole. Sit is to sat, as walk is to walk, so past tense. Sink is to float, so these are obviously opposites. And dangerous is to safe. And then pin is to nip, again spelling them backwards. And then we've got bat is to tab. So that was a spelling backwards one there, which is quite clever. And then we've got some synonyms. So clasp and clip, miniature and tiny, least and minimum. And then we've got pterodactyls here. So dinosaurs became extinct millions of years ago. A pterodactyl is a type of dinosaur. Pterodactyls are extinct, yes, because dinosaurs are. So that was the true statement, 12D. And then the last test, I think this is the last one we're going to go through. We've got to remove a letter from each of the words to make 2 new words. So take a letter away from each word to make 2 new words. The letter you take away should be in the same position in each word. So same position, that's quite crucial. So we make lap and ram if we take away the E and we take away the O. So they're in the second position there. And then we've got to take the last letter off. So we've got thin and swam. And then if we take the first letters off from here, C and the B, we've got law and. And then the last one, if we take the first letters away, we get rain and each, from train and peach. Then we're going to search some free letters. So we've got lot, hug, lit and rib to make clothes, huge, polite and horrible. But do read the sentences on those, because the sentences will give you a clue to the words. And then what you can do, so on the first one, if I was to write out clothes, I could actually cross out the letters that I was already given, and that will leave you then with the three letter words. So that's my advice on those. Write them out, spell them out, cross out the letters they've given you, and that will hopefully leave you with a three letter word. And those letters always need to be consecutive. So what have we got to do here? We've got to rearrange the word in capitals, use the letters to make another word that goes with the first two. So light and dark, if we rearrange, this is a bit like an anagram, we get pale, so it's another type of colour. Fawn and doe, if we organise read into a different word, we make deer. And then ring and circle, if we get pool, turn it, sort of write it backwards if you like, you make loop. Read the following information, work out the answer, write your answer on the line. Now interestingly for this particular one, what I've done here, and I've actually done a little list here of the order that they would be in, because I thought that might help if you create like a little table. So there are 4 people are waiting for a bus, and the first thing I did was write 1, 2, 3, 4. Shamit is at the front of the queue, so he's number 1. Michael is 2 places behind Shamit, so he's now in the 3rd position. Sally is standing behind Michael, so Sally needs to be in 4th because he's standing behind Michael. And then Frank is 2 places in front of Sally, so 1, 2. Frank obviously needs to be 2nd, so Frank is 2nd in the queue. Sorry, test 2, section 2, test 6. Sorry, I didn't realise there was one more. What have we got to do in the first one? We've got to find the word that comes 3rd in the alphabet. So it was hall, shine, one and lion. So again, if you got those right. With alphabetical order, always look at the first letter. If the first letters are the same, you're then going to look at the second letter. Change the first word into the last word. Only change one letter at a time. You must make a new word in the middle. Write the new word on the line. So we've got pain turning to vein, and then vein again, but the vein in your arm. Lake, like and pike. Bike, bake and rake. So again, we're just changing one letter at a time. Sing, king and kind. So with these, and we have done these before, look at letters that are the same on both sides. That's my starting point. And then you can slot in the other letters until it makes a word, but you only change one letter at a time. Underline the 2 words, one from each group, that together make a compound word. So tapeworm, stingray and lighthouse. And then the last question, I think this is the last question of your homework. Alice is 10 years old. Her mother is 3 times as old as Alice. So 3 times as old, that would make Alice's mum 30. Alice's father is 5 years older than her mum. So add 5 on, we get 35. Hopefully, guys, you've done really well with these. Obviously, in your progress grid, you can record down your results. I am just going to go back and have a look at one question that possibly I didn't describe as well as I possibly could. I'm just going to go and see if I can find it. It was the one, it's a little bit earlier on, where we talked about the timings. So just on this one, so it might have not made sense by having 70 here. So I'm just going to rub that out. I'm going to do this one again just so we can be really clear about what the answer is. Obviously trying to do it too quickly. So we've got 1:15. So that's what time Freya starts cleaning. So if we add on 20 minutes to that, we're going to get 1:35 p.m. And then we've got to add on another 35 minutes. So what you could do is add on 5 minutes if you make 1:40, and then we're going to add on half an hour, so that's going to be 2:10. So apologies if that didn't make sense the first time round. Well done. So I think that's all of your tasks reviewed. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I really hope you did well with your homework. We look forward to seeing you in your next live lesson. See you later. Bye.